I am writing a paper on poverty for my English class. The first place I look for information is Google. I think it has a lot of sources on there, and a lot of results come up, and I just go through them and choose which one is the best. In my FYE class, we're learning to decipher which ones are, accurate, and which ones are with the accurate enough information. So, I mean, I'm a little about that. Um, I begin the research process basically just by typing in my topic. My topic is poverty, so I might type in different things about poverty, like the poverty level in America, or um, just different stuff about that, because I feel like I'll get more information if I just type in the topic. Um, Sometimes I'll go to Galileo as a library source because I learned about Galileo. Something popped up. Is it good? Oh, okay. I learned about Galileo in 10th grade, right there. Mm, okay, okay. I learned about Galileo 10th grade year. My English teacher taught us how to use it and different things like that. And sometimes I'll go back to that website and type in my topic. Sometimes I think Galileo is like a little too like tedious and confusing sometimes, so I don't always go there. That's not my first choice. When I do have a source that I do want to use, I tend to write it down, like on a piece of paper or something like that, and then later on I'll go back, and when it's time for me to write my work citation, I'll go back to my piece of paper and I'll, work on that, and then that's how I keep up with my sources. Um, I'm getting better on properly citing them because sometimes I'll just, put in the what is it called? The web link instead of properly citing it. But when I have like a book or something like that, I know how to cite it from there. But I'm working on citing websites and different articles from the websites so I can be doing it correctly and not plagiarizing anything or anything like that. Um, the way I choose my links are if if they have a lot of information, or I see like copyright things at the bottom. What research? Oh, for poverty. Okay. 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 Hmm. I'll type in my topic in Google or something, and I'll choose a link. And if feel like it's not, going to help me in any kind of way, I'll exit out and try the other ones. Um, hmm. If I type in, my topic is poverty, so if I type in poverty and I don't get the results that I'm looking for, or enough information, I'll go in again and I'll type something like poverty in America, or solutions on poverty, something like that, so I can get more information for my paper and just use different things to write about. When I pick a link and I look through it and I like the information, sometimes I'll either write it down, or if I'm like right there on the paper, I'll copy it and then paste it in my paper and then cite it in my paper. and try to, just explain more about my topic, you know, about the quote that I used. Mm, if I can't really find information online, which is really rare because I do find information online, but if sometimes the teacher says, oh, you have to have like a book source or something like that, of course I'll go to the library and ask the librarian because I'm a little, sketchy on finding books in the library. So I'll ask the librarian, to help me. I'll tell them my topic and then like she'll pull different books out that'll help. And then I'll just look through the book and, decide what I want to use and stuff like that. Mm, yeah, that's about it. I typed in solutions to poverty and I found an article on what President Obama said about the top 5 solutions to cut poverty. And I'm just reading that now to see if I want to use that later on for my paper. Um, I mean, everything looks good. I'll just have to. Um, if I don't really know how to cite something, I'll use Al Purdue and I'll type in, the information that I collected from the article and I'll put that in there and then it'll help me, cite it for my paper. And the link looks, official and all that, so I'll probably use it in my paper. So, hmm, like I said, I'll write down the source and I'll keep it and I'll come back to it later when I'm ready to like write down all my sources and things like that. And mm, if sometimes when I'm writing my papers and I want to stop and take a break or something like that, of course I'll save what I already wrote, but the information that I collect from the sources that I use, sometimes I'll just write them down in my notebook and then I'll decipher them out later and see which ones I want to pick or see which one I use. Write down a lo- I usually write down a lot and just decipher which ones I really think would like help my paper out a lot more. Because I'm not really a confident writer, so I feel like my quotes and the stuff, the sources that I put into my paper have to be like really good so I can explain them. So it'll help me out more. Um, I try not to wait till the last minute to do my papers, but that doesn't always help. It doesn't always happen that way.